Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster Perfect Stats Guide. So we're starting out this one. We just finished the Narsh battle and gonna make our way across the mountains. My plan here was again to get across there without getting into any random encounters. We've got a boss battle, so we're on our way to Zozo. Basically, that's where our goal is. And inside Zozo, there is one boss battle there called Dataluma. And the original time that I had made this, and actually I don't think I ever knew this before, but Dataluma is actually vulnerable to the break spell, which is, basically petrifies the enemy and completely destroys them. So there's basically what you need to know is that there's two different rages that Gao can use to cast break. He's the only character that is able to do that right now. And so for the first one is the Dark Wind, which is found right out actually back there on the plains or in the forested area. Basically, they're like a brown-looking bird. The other one is the Commander enemy. The Commander is found for sure in the basement, I guess, area of the South Figaro town. So when we went through there with Locke, right after getting Celes, the Commander is found down there. So I suppose make sure that you've got that. You don't need to, like, let's just say you missed that somehow, or you didn't obtain that with Gao. There's a few other things that you could do instead. The Trillium Rage is actually really good against Dataluma as well. Dataluma is vulnerable to poison, and so again, that one's a good rage to use as well. I think there's, I don't know, maybe you could get away with using Templar, right, and using Fyra. Oversoul worked for me before. I have my original video when I went through there. I actually raged Oversoul and then used Chainsaw with Edgar and Aura Bolt. I think Aura Bolt was Cyan. With Cyan. With Sabin. So, again, a lot of different options there, but I really do think that, bringing Gao and using, Break on... you might as well just one-shot the guy, right? So that's the plan going forward. Now, one thing before I forget here. So, it is now March 28th. And today they patched a couple of things, unfortunately, which actually really screws up my my guide. I'm going to have to try to kind of talk around the changes that they've made. But I suppose I'll bring them up right now. For one thing, we can't glitch espers anymore, which really actually sucks. That what it is, right? It was never intended for us to be able to, glitch Ragnarok onto our character. Obviously, that's why it's called a glitch in the first place. And that unfortunately makes it so that like flame shields are unavailable, as well as miracle shoes was another one of the items that I morphed quite a bit here in the World of Balance. Not quite yet. It would have been after we got our espers for the first time there, but. Again, unfortunately, that's not available anymore. Now, that being said, I still think that there's a case at least to be made for, well, maybe less. Actually, yes, quite a bit less of a case to be made for avoiding the formations out here. Honestly, the morphing or my goal, was indeed to morph on the Veldt. And so this aspect and avoiding these specific enemy formations out here is not quite pointless, but pretty much pointless, honestly. And the reason for that was, so what I had done before was I avoided all of the encounters outside here because most of these monsters share, share a pack with the Hill Gigas monster, and that is found inside Zozo. And the Hill Gigas you can steal from him for one thing, but he doesn't have a common steal, so it's really actually easy to steal if you've got enough patience to just steal from him. But prior to this, I had actually morphed those as well. They morph into an organics, which is not that great of a weapon. Normally, again, though, those aren't available actually until the World of Ruin. But they actually do make an interesting combination with the Dragoon boots, which are also actually available, at least in Zozo. You can actually steal them. They're a rare steal from the Harvester enemy. The reason being the ogre or the organics. I'm always used to it being called the ogre Nix, right? That was the name in the original SNES version. But the interesting thing is with that combination, the organics will not break. So when you use the jump command, it won't break. It only has because of the way it's programmed, and that may be a bug as well. But it's been the case, I think, as far as I know anyway, in every version of the game where, again, when you jump, it will not potentially break on you. Whereas if you just use the regular attack command, there's a chance that it breaks. Anyways, bit of a tangent there, but that was why I had avoided all of the encounters on the outside. Now, here, obviously, on the streets and in the outside areas, that is where we can find the Hill Gigas. Here is the clock. I messed this up a couple times, but the combination is 6, 10, 50. So hour 6, minute hand 10, and then 50 seconds, which opens up the way for the chainsaw. And the chainsaw is very important, especially if you're not able to use Gao's, those two specific rages that I brought up. But also, so on the inside here, and again, this is partially due to the fact that I was morphing, but on the inside areas here, you've got, but also not just for morphing purposes, but in the inner areas, we'll run into an enemy called the Veil Dancer. Now, the Veil Dancer has, I believe it's 3 different potential formations here. There's the Veil Dancer that's solo, the Veil Dancer with 3 gobbledygooks. That enemy name is it's a bit of a challenge for me. But also there's a Veil Dancer with 2 harvesters. Now, the way the Veil Dancer is programmed, when the Veil Dancer is by itself, it will nuke the crap out of you. And that's very dangerous, especially for a low-level playthrough like this. As of right now, we have 1 wall ring, so we could, protect ourselves with that, but I didn't want to go that route, and I just wanted to avoid the single Veil Dancer altogether, because I also don't want to fight that on the Veldt, because again, they're very dangerous. So not just for like morphing purposes, which normally what I would do here, or what I had done, was I made sure that this formation here was on the Veldt, as well as, again, the other Veil Dancer with the 2 harvesters. And why? Well, again, basically we would save before that pack, and then we would know, okay, the next fight we're for sure going to get into a battle with a Veil Dancer. And so then I would just attempt to morph. If it didn't work, then I would just reset my game. Now, again, you're not going to be able to do that, at least in the world of balance, but we will still kind of be able to do that in the World of Ruin if we so choose. Though that said, I don't know. It's questionable whether, because now that you can't glitch the Ragnarok Esper on, you're probably just not going to be able to ever morph, because the sword is so good. If that's something that you want to do, I get it, but I'll be honest, I actually prefer the sword. The sword is just so powerful, and the stats are so good that I think I can deal with not being able to morph things. Though, again, it hurts. I'm not going to lie. I actually really liked doing that. Probably because I've never really done that before, right? Again, the sword is so good that it's just too, for me, it's too good to pass up. And so, I've never really been able to use the Ragnarok Esper, unfortunately. But, and those, unfortunately, those days have come to a close. There's still another way around it, I suppose, if you want to try to trigger the, the Ragnarok Esper via Magicite shards. I think Setzer's slots can technically do it as well, but the amount of RNG to get that to happen is just so bad that I honestly, I don't even think it's worth doing. It is indeed that bad. But anyway, so again, I would say that at the very least, though, even though we probably can't morph anymore, there's still a case to be made for tweaking the Veldt formations, because again, we don't want to run into the Veil Dancers solo, because again, they'll just nuke the crap out of you. They will not use their spells if they are with allies. So again, the 3 Gobbledygooks and the 2 Harvesters. Now, if you notice there in that, and I completely talked over it already, but in that battle with the Veil Dancer and the Gobbledygooks, that is very key to my strategy here. It probably, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, isn't as necessary, simply because we're going to be basically one-shotting Dataluma. But it was very, very nice, or is nice, I should say, if you don't have that rage, or if you're using some other method. It is still very nice to be vanished, right? Because for one thing, on the way here, nothing is going to be able to touch us, and it's actually really nice to get that vanish on us early, so that when we do come across enemies like the double Harvester Veil Dancer here, or the Hillgigus, we don't have to worry about anything, like literally anything. And you can also steal now from these Harvesters as long as you're vanished. There's kind of 2 ways that you can steal from them and have it not really be a big deal, because when you steal, they will respond by stealing your money, and we can't take any experience here, so we can't kill them off, right? So there's 2 ways to go about it. The safest way is to just be vanished. They will always miss when they try to steal from you if you're vanished. The other thing that you can do is use the Noise Blaster and then steal from them while they're confused. And then they will not respond to you by trying to steal your stuff. But that's very dangerous. I don't recommend that at all. You just never know when, something's going to go wrong and, one of their allies hits them, or, one of the confused Harvesters hits the other. And then you try to steal from, the one that is no longer confused, and then boom, you've just lost like $8,000, So again, that's my recommendation, at least, is if you're going to steal, which, by the way, again, they do have the Dragoon boots as a rare steal. Their common is like Silver Spectacles, which is, pretty much garbage, but at least you can sell those. Here, and also kind of the interesting thing here with the Hillgigus is they literally cannot touch you. So if you want to sit around and just steal from them, and I believe I did that in one of these battles coming up here, to give you some perspective, though, I think I stole or tried to steal for about 10, it was either 10 to 15 minutes straight. So basically I just had, the rest of the team either run away or defend, and Locke was the only one in the battle and just stealing over and over and over. And like I said, it took like 15 minutes to get that steal. So that should give you some idea of the rare steal rate here at also at this, low level of 5. Up there in the chest was the Brigand's Glove. I'll be honest, I don't really like that as much as I used to. I actually really, it's funny, I used to love that relic. The thing I suppose, though, is that, because we're so low level and my character, or, the characters are always in the back row, his damage is just not good with, any of the daggers anyway. So, him trying to steal and doing like 30 damage or whatever at a time is just not so great. So again, not wild about that. And then on top of that, like, oftentimes if I'm trying to steal something, I want to steal. Like, I don't want to accidentally like kill the enemy off. So again, that Brigand's Glove I don't find to be very useful, actually, at all, in this entire playthrough. So here's an example, though, of stealing. Also, the Veil Dancers do have the Thief Knife as a steal. That's a rare, unfortunately, though, as well. Thief Knives are great. It's one of the best weapons, especially for this style of playthrough. For one thing, they've got the 10 physical evade, but they also have the 10 magical evade on top of that. Oftentimes, it kind of actually functions as a Brigand's Glove as well, where I think it's like 50% of the time when you use the attack command, it'll actually try to steal from the enemy as well. So, kind of a built-in Brigand's Glove, kind of, that I suppose only works half of the time, but still a good dagger. Usually, also and on top of that, so Shadow can equip those as well. So technically, Locke isn't the only one that can steal. Shadow can kind of fit the bill from time to time. Although even then, he's nowhere near as effective as Locke is. But at least it's an option. And again, it still is a good dagger anyway. So. All right, anyways, yeah, like I said, so we're gonna, I tried to steal from these guys. I don't think I got lucky here with any Dragoon boots or any thief knives, unfortunately, on the way up, but, just, yeah, I got a little bit of cash for, later. But, yeah. So anyways, again, unfortunately, I wish that, they hadn't made those patches, but although I suppose also, I don't know. On some level, it's pretty lame, honestly, being able to glitch, the espers pretty early. It's just from a stats standpoint, it kind of it sucks. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it sucks. That makes it so that and pretty soon here we're actually gonna have to level up Celes to 6, and unfortunately, we'll have to level her, when we only have the initial espers. So. Again, that's a bit of a shame because then that means that she's going to lose 1 stat point. I've already, luckily, glitched espers onto her and leveled her while I was still able to, use that glitch. So my, Celes is going to have an extra stat point for me, but again, it kind of stinks that that they made that change. It looks like I forgot to cut a piece of footage out here, so. Unfortunately, though, the gobbledygooks or whatever those are called in this version, aren't as it's not as good of a formation as they used to be. I used to really, like that one because it was an easy way to get your characters vanished. But because of the fact that I don't want that formation on the Veldt, I had to, had to basically restart the game. So, yeah. So, all right, what are we looking here? Yeah, looking good. So at this point now we're gonna jump across. Yeah, wow, I'm surprised. So I ended up not having to reset after this. This is kind of wild, and I got all the way up to Dataluma. So I must have ran into a bunch of hill gigas instead of any of the other formations out here. But yeah. So again, like I said, it's a drag, and I noticed there still is one aspect that's kind of, my guess is bugged, and again, probably same deal. My guess is they're going to fix that as well, but normally Shadow will take off on you. So what we're going to do here is, after the events of Zozo, we'll have to go all the way over to the Veldt and leap Gao. And the reason for that is, and that's normal, that we've always had to do that, but the reason for that is if you leap Gao and you still have everybody at their base levels, when you go to rehire Shadow in Collingen, he will join you at level 5. The problem is if you try to hire him with Gao in your party still, Gao is bringing up our party, our average party level up to 6, and so then Shadow would lose that level, 5 to 6. But again, at this point now, we'll be able to go grab Shadow, and we're actually going to bring him into Narsh. And I did test this today. It still is working as of today. My guess again is that will change as well. So, I'll have to, kind of make sure to bring that up in probably the next video as well. But, anyways, what that does for us is it actually makes it so that we don't have to level Shadow right then and there. We'll be able to just kind of store him in Narsh until later on when we've got access to the airship, and we will also have an Esper that is able to give us +2 to our stats. And so again, that actually makes it so that Shadow can get an extra stat as well. So he's kind of similar to Celes in that, in other versions of the game, you have to level him basically with Ketchi to get you the +1 magic power. But again, as of today, storing Shadow in Narsh is still working. So we actually will be able to level him, from 5 to 6 with a +2 Esper. So that is about all I've got for this one. We're gonna keep working our way up here, but I'm about done, and we're gonna grab the I think it's the flame, is it flame knuckle or something like that for Sabin up here. not that important. Obviously, we're going to be aura bolting still with him anyway. But that's about all the time I've got for this one. So as always, I hope the guide was helpful, and hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.